Hello and welcome to the May edition of the Key Model World TV show. We're going to take a trip to Cumbria to see Malcolm Rochford's wonderful model of Kirkby Stephen West.
We'll take a detailed look at Accurascale's brand new 00 gauge Class 37.
And we've got the latest news from Bachmann with their latest British railway announcements.
Tony's Trains of Rugby is located at Hillmorton Locks on the outskirts of Rugby. We are open Tuesday to Saturday 10 till 5 but closing early on Saturday at 4 o'clock. We stock Hornby, Bachmann, Graham Farish, Pico, Gauge Master, Howjan, Oxford and Oxford Diecast, Accurascale and more. We also have a large selection of second-hand models to suit all budgets. You can either visit us in store or reach me on 01788 543 442, visit our website tonystrainsofrugby.com or find us on Facebook.
Introducing Key Model World, your new online destination for everything railway and scale modelling. Featuring exclusive videos and features, unseen images, step-by-step guides, railway history and the latest news. Plus, it's home to our full layout build series.
But I'm going to stop you right there though, because I didn't do this. This is all you're doing.
Join us for the latest content from Key Publishing's modelling titles, Hornby Magazine and Airfix Model World. Sign up today for as little as £3.75 per month, or if you're a magazine subscriber, bolt Key Model World onto your subscription package now. For more details, visit keymodelworld.com.
Well, it started many years ago actually. Originally from Manchester, and in the sort of the early 40s, 50s and 60s, I was really into trains, mainly LMS, which is what I knew. On a trip to Whitby, we stayed over in York Station, and that's when I was introduced to the LNER Pacifics, and they caught my eye as well. So somewhere which had LMS steam plus LNER Pacifics would suit the bill. I also like the fact that to see railways in hilly terrain, mountainous, and because I think that if you can put the railway into the landscape, it's more convincing. About that time, when I was in my late teens, David Jenkinson produced the book Rails in the Fells, and lo and behold, in there was all the LMS locos that I was familiar with. Duchesses diverted over the Settle and Carlisle, and in the early 60s there was the LNER Pacifics were shedded at Holbeck, and they took over some of the main line running. So a start was made in a terraced attic in Barnoldswick on a layout purporting to be Kirkby Stephen. I probably got the baseboards and part of the track done, but it was really, the space was too small. And at that time I'd really got into Austrian railways. So since then I've been modelling Austrian railways, but I still always had a love for the Settle and Carlisle. So I moved up near Skipton and was able to travel on the Settle and Carlisle, and then the railway room had to be re-roofed and replastered, so the Austrian layout went, and that's when we started on Kirkby Stephen. It's been quite a task. I think the first thing was trying to get the topography right, so I used boxes and planks to get the relative heights of the landscape and the buildings set down on a piece of wallpaper. Construction began, so I used basically the open draw principle, where the you make it like a draw, and then you build the railway up. So the layout starts in a cutting, crosses the main road, goes through the station, which is partly on an embankment, goes into a cutting, and then at the end of the layout it disappears over an embankment and into a cutting. One of the good things was that most of the points were in the actual cutting beyond the station, so it meant that I just had a flatboard top, and then I built the scenery on top of it. So construction began. I had a quite an extensive fiddle yard from the Austrian railways, but had to be redesigned for a double track exit at each end. What we did on the track, we decided that we were going to have code 70 track, but with the fiddle yard, code 100 was reused in there. The track plan was set up using Rails of the Fells, and fortunately there's a lot of books on the Settle and Carlisle, so we could compare them with pictures, and I've actually been up and taken pictures myself. So gradually the stock was built up and weathered, so that's been quite nice collecting those. I did get some help with the buildings, because as a one-man band at the time, it would have taken me even longer to build it. So it's probably been about 5 or 6 years really, from start to finish. I'm pleased really with the result. The landforms were made from insulating board, which is carved, a little bit like polystyrene but thicker. So the landscape was carved on there, and then on top of that there's a skin of a plaster bandage, and that gave it a hard shell. That was then painted to hide any white bits, and then it was laid then initially with grass mat. But not just in flat pieces. If you use wallpaper paste, it gets flexible, and where you got any creases, it was cut out rather like a jigsaw, so that you didn't get any creases in it. On top of that, we used static grass of various colours and mixed, and I feel that it captures the feel of the area. The back scene, that was done at an early stage. The height of the board is quite high, so it's 51 inches, mainly because I like to see into the scenery rather than down onto it. I'm very fortunate. I've got a friend called Adrian Rigby, who's a professional artist, and we actually painted the back scene really before all the structures were put on the layout, so to obviously save it from getting damaged. And I think he's done a great job, It certainly, I feel, creates distance behind the layout, which is what I was looking for, particularly at the southern end, where he's got the Malastang Valley, where the railway eventually comes out into before it goes up to Aysgill.
I'm Alex Yates, and this is the Model Centre. We sell absolutely everything you can imagine in the popular scales. We've got our customisation services, so we've got weathering, got renaming and renumbering, and then all the sort of add-ons, so like real coal, we can fit the parts pack for you, nameplates, cab crew, everything like that. You can order online or on the phone, come and collect it from us, or you can come to the door and we'll just serve you from there. And we're doing free postage on the website as well to sort of compensate for the fact that the shop's not open. You can visit us on our website, themodelcentre.com. Our phone number is 01947 899 125.
name's Smith, and I'm the owner of Smith's Model Railways, based in Sheringham in Norfolk, just on the main high street, really close to the Norfolk Railway. So we stock from N gauge to O gauge, brands like Pico, Graham Farish, Hornby, Bachmann. Just launched our new loyalty card just after lockdown when we reopened. So we also offer these gift vouchers. You can either contact us via our telephone, email, or with our contact form on our website.
It's great, isn't it, being able to see scale-length trains running through the scene there.
Oh, absolutely, and under the Settle and Carlisle as well in the 1950s. I mean, Malcolm's got some brilliant train formations there. I mean, I've got a particular favourite in the LMS Twins that they really look superb at the front of a regular Stenier stop.
Thundering round the curve.
Yeah. It's great to see, like I say, the scale length trains, the proper weathering of things as well, everything tying together. And actually, I've seen a couple of layouts of Kirkby Stephen West, and I do really like what Malcolm's done there. So.
Lots of scenic detail going on as well.
Absolutely. I love that scene up the main road up to the bridge as well.
Up and under the bridge there.
Yeah. Real nice classic stuff there.
It is, absolutely. Yeah.
So without further ado, I think we need to stay right where we are for the next section and move on and take a close look at Accurascale's brand new 00 gauge Class 37.
Hello, welcome once again to the Hornby Magazine workshop. You join us in the company of Accurascale's brand new Class 37s. So Mike, Class 37s, Accurascale.
Yes, is it the model
How
we've all been
excited are
waiting
you?
for? Yeah, very excited, yes. Well, I'm always excited about Class 37s on a normal day, and then models like this come in and it's even more exciting.
Isn't it? Yeah.
So we've got two of the new Class 37-4s on the layout today. We've got 37-425 in its regional railways livery, finished as Concrete Bob, and we've got 37-419 Carl Haviland in its intercity mainline livery as well. And these are both as they are currently operating with direct rail services on the main line.
Yeah, and they look absolutely stunning. I've been up close to Concrete Bob in recent times at the Crewe Open Day, Crewe Gresty Road Diesel Depot Open Day. It was on display there last year. And I also got quite a few good photographs of Carl Haviland at Norwich Station a few years ago when they were still in operation on the Wherry lines.
Yes, all the passenger trains out to Yarmouth, weren't they?
That's
the lower
right.
stuff,
Yeah.
Fantastic machines, the Class 37s. I don't think there's probably, actually I can't think of any diesel that's actually as popular as a Class 37. And then when you look at its life and times in 00 gauge as a rated run model, there isn't anything that's really quite as popular as a Class 37.
How many Class 37s have been produced over the years?
Absolutely. Well, the first one was produced by Triang Hornby. That was right back in the, I think it was the late 1960s or early 1970s. Then we moved on to the Lima era in the 1980s, when I think it was 37081 was the first one as a split box Class 37, which if it is, I have one of those,
Yes.
obviously. Then we moved on to the early 2000s, and Bachmann came through with what was a really it was a game-changing locomotive at that time for a model of the Class 37. Since then, the old Lima models moved into the Hornby Railroad range, and then more recently we've seen a brand new version come in from Bachmann in 2022, and then we've now got a new choice in the Accurascale model as well.
And this is the first time that this particular variant in this style has been done.
That's right, and that's one of the quite interesting things about the Accurascale Class 37 collection. A lot of them are locomotive groups that have never been modelled before as a ready-to-run product. So you probably look at these and think, well, they're just 37-4s in regional railways and in city mainline. They've all seen that before. Well, actually, you haven't seen them like this before, because these are actually modelling them as they are today. And there's been quite a few amendments to these locos over the years to bring them up to the latest standards. Some of them are very small things, like, for example, these have got the LED pattern taillights on them, which are much bigger than the standard original Class 37 taillights. They've also got the squared off buffers as well. They've got the extra nose end connections as well, to allow them to do push-pull working as well, with things like the network rail test trains. So there's an awful lot of little detail changes on these to make them a present day Class 37.
Now, there's an awful lot of technology packed inside these locomotives as well, isn't there?
There certainly is, yes. So these are very feature-rich locomotives. Both of these versions that are here on the layout today are DCC sound fit, as you'll be able to hear on the video, and they do sound, I'm going to say it, this is the best sounding Class 37 I think I've ever run. It really is that good. So it's got Accurascale's new Accurathrash setup in it, which was introduced with the Deltic. So you've got multiple speakers inside. You've got a big EM1 twin speaker for the main running sounds, and you've also got a smaller tube speaker for the higher frequency sounds as well. That's all controlled by a Locksound V5 sound decoder. And there's also, you get a built-in Stay Alive power pack into one of these locomotives as well with the Accurascale Class 37 sound package. Plus you've got all the optional switchable lighting as well, and that is just the bee's knees.
I've noticed subtle little things such as the fade in, fade out of the headlights and tail lights, for example, and also the high intensity and the head code indicator boxes come on at separate times.
That's right. Yeah, and then if you looked inside with the lighting function you can do as well. So you've now got not just that on the outside, you've also got illuminated instruments on the control desk, which are actually a brilliant little feature, I think. You've got cab lighting inside as well, and there's also engine room lighting as well. So if you turn the engine room lighting on, you can see it light up in a little single window in each of the engine bays. Really clever stuff inside.
I mean, this really is the closest you're going to get to being put into the driver's seat, isn't it, when you're operating one of these?
Yeah, and that's the next thing with these. Actually, it's not just how good the sound sounds, it's how well the sound responds as well. So it's a really well designed sound package which responds differently to how you control it. So for example, if you drive it and turn the speed control at one speed step at a time, you'll get a gradual and continual increase of the power from the locomotive. It represents a locomotive that's moving along reasonably well but not being worked too hard. But if you start off by spinning the control up to speed step 50 as soon as you move out of the station, then you get proper full Class 37 thrash and a rapid start out of the station. Third to that as well, there's also extra manual notching functions within it as well, and there's also a drive hold function as well, so you can actually hold the speed of the locomotive at a set speed, then you can use the throttle to modulate the sound to represent heavy working, light working, coasting, or however you want it to respond to your driving.
I've noticed when you take these locomotives out of the box, I mean, it's an experience just opening the box, because you then get all manner of information at your fingertips. There's a booklet, there's instructions on how to operate the locomotive from start up, but there's also then all the information regarding the functionality and what have you. And then you can put it into practice.
That's right, and there's also the accessory pack, and there's etch metal nameplates with each one as well. And one of the things in the past, again going back generations of models, accessory packs didn't always fit the holes they were designed for, and you'd often spending quite a lot of time opening holes out to make the components fit. Every single component fitted to these locos to decorate the buffer beam in full with all the snow ploughs and all the pipe work, every single component fitted straight away without any modifications to the holes whatsoever, which is a really nice little thing, but a little thing that makes a difference.
Also, looking back at some of the previous examples of the Class 37 models, one of the issues sometimes is that you might go to the trouble of putting all the detail on, and then it's like, oh, hang on a second, I want to put a decoder in. So you then have to take the body off to put the decoder in. You don't have to do that with this model.
No, you don't. No, and it's actually, again, another really nice consumer-considered thought with this loco as well. Is actually the 3/4 of the roof just lifts off. It's held in with magnets and allows you to get access to the interior of the locomotive to plug in a sound decoder if you wish, or if you've gone for a non-DCC one, you can just put a standard motor control decoder in there as well.
So I suppose I have to ask, what's not to like about it?
Well, that's the bit I'm really struggling with this. I mean, when we get a new model in, we always want to be critical of it, not for picking up problems with it, but critical from a point of view as a customer. What are the things that would be difficult for a customer to live with? You know, and actually, it's so well thought out, it's so well packaged, and it's got so many lovely features in it that actually I'm really struggling for any negatives whatsoever. I suppose the only negative at this point is that, as far as I can see at the moment, batch 1 is pretty much sold out.
But there are more batches to come.
There are, this is true. Well, batch 2 has already been announced. We've got more versions on the way coming in the beginning of 2024. Actually, does see more options to buy the Class 37. We know that Accurascale is going to continue to make new versions of these logos. It's not just a one-hit wonder, so there will be more opportunities in the future to get these as well.
Now there are models coming through in sort of batches of 3 or 4 models at a time, aren't there? So there's 3 that have come through this time with the 237-4s here, plus the direct rail services version as well.
Yep.
Then there's also the 37Os coming through.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Yeah, so at the beginning of May, the first of the Class 37Os are coming in, and then we've also got to look forward to there's other versions of the 37Os with the car headlights on them, and there's also the first ever versions of the Class 37-6 as well, in direct rail services and also Eurofleet delivery as well. And I've already got my order in for a DRS one as a 37-6. So.
Plenty of choice then,
very much so,
coming through. So importantly, how much? And I know we've kind of touched on it, but availability.
Right, so the prices, they start at £169.99 for the DCC ready versions, and they rise to £269.99 for the DCC sound fitted versions. And like I say, they are now in stock with Accurascale. Most have been sold through, but they do have an option that if stock becomes available, you can sign up for an email alert to say that if stock becomes available, then you can get one yourself as well.
And where can we find out more?
Right, so our full review is in issue 192 of Hornby magazine. That's our June 2023 issue, which is on sale during May. Or you can visit keymodelworld.com/class-37, where you can see all our content about the Accurascale Class 37 and anything else we have about Class 37 as well, including our Class 37's modern era with DRS reality check feature as well.
Of course.
I'm Anthony of AGR Model Rail Store in Leighton Buzzard, Bedfordshire. We stock the whole ranges for N, OO and O, all the major brands, for DC modelers and DCC modelers. We have a full DCC sound install, which can include sound, smoke and lights. We offer a range of Pico 009 exclusives, and we are also UK's biggest importer of Bachmann, USA Thomas and Friends models. Got great links to the M1. We have mail order, which you can order through the website www.agrmodelrailstore.co.uk. We're actually just off the Lake Buzzard High Street. We're in High Street Mews, so if you look for Costa Coffee, directly opposite you can see us and the sign.
I'm Adam Davis of Rails of Sheffield Limited. We're a family-run business. We've been trading for over 50 years now. We've also been voted Retailer of the Year for the last 2 years running. We sell any age, any gauge, tens of thousands of items for all major manufacturers, continental, American, from your N-gauge, Z-gauge, right up to live steam, ride-on. We do many in-house exclusives, all available on our website, railsofsheffield.com. The address here is 21 to 29 Chesterfield Road, Sheffield, SA0RL.
The ultra modern version, which is out there now with the celebrity paint schemes as well. So
yeah, they are really smart. And there's more versions coming out. It's got the Scottish version with the split head codes and the car headlights on them. Then we've got the 37-6s to look forward to as well, which have never been done properly. So there's loads more to see with the Accurascale.
There's examples of each that I'm looking forward to, shall we say.
Definitely. Right, from one brand new locomotive onto a brand new announcement. So in beginning of May, Bachmann revealed their latest British railway announcement. So we're going to go and have a closer look at what's new for 00 gauge and beyond. Every quarter, Bachmann reveals its new British railway announcements across its portfolio, and at the beginning of May it revealed its summer 2023 announcements. Today we're going to run through the highlights of that range release, plus you can read our full coverage online at keymodelworld.com/Bachmann as well. And what a lineup it is as well, Mark.
Phenomenal. What, more than 170 different items added across the portfolio.
That's right, and what a portfolio it is as well now, because actually it's covering both the, well, I say both the, all of rather, Bachmann's branch line range, the EFE rail collection, which has continued to expand now. It now covers double O gauge, N gauge, and even O gauge now as well. The Graham Farish brand's got new products, Scenecraft's got new products, and even the EFE Road collection has expanded.
Absolutely, and there's a few specials for the Collectors Club too.
Absolutely, there's always some nice specials coming up as well. So I think we'll start with double O gauge and the Bachmann branch line collection, where we've got really quite an impressive list of diesel locomotives coming out.
Some exciting locomotives. Of course, there's the Class 40s, of which this is one of the new Class 40s that is set to come out.
A rather special one. That's our limited edition Class 40.
Indeed, and I believe there's 5 others that will be arriving as well. So there's another model with the high intensity headlight in BR green and Dania, which had already been announced.
Yeah, that was announced about 5 years ago. They announced on Dania. And it is now ready to be released as well. And this batch of the Class 40s as well, importantly, have all got the upgraded specification on the chassis as well. So they've now got twin speakers inside them, they've got a Plux 22 decoder socket, and they've got upgrades to the lighting as well to make all the lighting switchable through the DCC decoder as well.
So there's also 3 versions of the disc head code as well, models coming through. Nice BR green version with the careworn weathered livery.
I do like that one,
well,
yes. And it's got the double arrows on it as well as the BR lake crest as well.
That's right. So it's in the tops period, but it's got that mix and match of colour schemes and livery elements about it. There's also a new version of the centre head code Class 40 as well, with the Scottish region style head code box, which has got the square corners and a slightly different sort of way about it underneath.
Yeah, that's right, because these are the ones which were modified. I think they were Gateshead allocated logos, weren't they? And they were modified to have the central communication doors removed, and again the centre head code box, like you said, that had square corners on it. And then at the bottom they've got the where the communication doors used to be. There's a slightly increased depth to that section of the front end of the Class 40, wasn't there?
Yes.
Bachmann's modelled that as well, as those locomotives were.
And they've taken away the handrail. So like on this version here, just around the edge of the head code boxes, you've got a handrail across the top of the head code box and 2 down the side. They're not on there either.
That's right. So moving from one big English electric diesel to a slightly smaller English electric diesel, there's a new batch of Class 20s coming as well.
There is 3 new models coming through, 2 of which are disc head code and one has the centre head code.
That's right, it's centre head code on the BR green livery, which is one of those things unusually that I don't have in my collection.
So
you can see a
that caught your eye.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It did, very much so. It's always, I've always
Dear Mr. Bank Manager.
Yes, please may I have, yes. That looks rather smart in the original BR green with small yellow warning panels and the head code boxes on it. This is all using the new tooling suite, which was first released in 2021. And then, like I say, there's 2 disc head code versions, the Rail Freight Red Stripe version and another version in BR blue with full yellow ends and a nice weathered finish as well.
Yeah, they do look rather special actually.
That's
Looking
right,
forward to those. And they'll both be available DCC ready and DCC sound fitted.
That's right, and then with Plux 22 decoder sockets in them and a factory fitted cube speaker in there as well, as directional lighting. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to those. And keeping with the English electric theme.
Yes, Mark's going to be excited now.
Class 37s.
And a Class 37 you've always wanted as well.
I have. I've been after a model of Doon Ray, which is the 37 that's one of the 2 that's planned for this next batch. It's in all over civil engineers grey, so it was that before it had the sort of yellow stripe applied to that livery scheme. It was just that plain sort of almost drab kind of BR grey.
Drab but almost attractive as well.
I really like the grey scheme. It just looks different. But happily, with this particular model, it also comes with the working car headlamp, the Scottish style headlamp on the front, in the different position to how they've appeared on previous releases with the split head code boxes, where they were sort of slightly lower down to the side. This one's sort of centrally mounted just above the head code box.
Yeah, because these are almost like a precursor to the modern high intensity light that we're very accustomed to seeing in locomotives.
That's right. I think these were fitted to, there was a batch of the Class 37s around that period in that scheme. I think 37 260 to 263 had it fitted for use up on the far north Highland lines of Scotland.
And what else have we got coming on Class 37s?
And the other one that's coming through is 37305, which is a central head code variant of the 37, but it's got the original buffer beam valances. It's in BR blue, looks very nice as well.
It does, yeah, and I noticed with that one as well, they've done it as a no heat Class 37.0 as well. So it's got the fuel tanks being joined together. The water tank's no longer a water tank on it, and it's got the fuel gauge only on one side. And that's one of the nice things about these new Class 37s that Bachmann's done, is again meeting expectations, what we expect as modelers. There's lots of locomotive specific details on them as well. I think both of these, both 305 and 262, have both got fabricated bogies on them.
That's right.
But they've still got, like say, unique features like the cutaway buffer beams on 262, the full buffer beams on 305. You know, there's lots of little intricacies.
Yeah, things like the speedometer and all those sort of things are all specific to the era and the detailing. So it's good. Yeah.
So we've got one final, and actually I think these are both of our shopping lists now. I think we're going to be fighting over these.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, when it first came out, it seemed to sell through very quickly.
Yes.
With retailers, and I regularly keep an eye on various sites just to see whether one pops up, but they always go for ridiculously high prices.
That's right, yeah. So this is a new edition of the Class 70 in Colas Rail Freight Black, Orange and Yellow, which I think this is probably one of my many favourite liveries on the current modern railway scene.
I've got lots of Network Rail wagons that would benefit from one of these. I just need the locomotive to go with them.
Probably need double the length of your J&As now to run with it though.
Well, absolutely. So yes, this is the Class 70. It's coming out in its latest version, if you like, with the air intake modifications on the body side, and so many little tiny warning labels everywhere. Looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, covered. It's interesting, I saw a post about the Class 70 and just how much technology there is inside the cab of a Class 70 with all digital readouts for performance and what it's doing and all the rest of it as well. Really quite an interesting locomotive.
They are an interesting locomotive, and they're just a very strange sight. Even now, when you see them on the railway, they still look, to me, odd.
Yeah. Interestingly, we did have a couple around the area as well the other day. So there seemed to be I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, maybe someone on the comments will know, but there was a couple run down the East Coast Main Line via the Stamford route the other day.
Right.
Light engine, so I'm assuming probably on crew training runs or something like that, because it came from Crewe to Peterborough. But intrigued as to why Class 70s are back in the area as well, with freight like that was. So if you know, then let us know, because we'd love to know.
Yeah, you'll be out with the camera soon.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, we digress.
Yes, so this is coming out, this Class 70. It'll be available with in DCC ready format, but also for the first time with DCC sound as well.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to seeing that, definitely in that Colas Rail livery. It'll go nicely with my Freightliner green one.
Just rub that salt in.
Yeah.
You're going to get one, and I probably won't.
So continuing with the 00 gauge theme, we move on to EFE rail, and there's more exciting things coming for 00 gauge as well.
Well, yeah, the pacer units, there are two more pacer units coming through. There's a 143 in the original BR Provincial Blue scheme, which was that two-tone blue scheme that they appeared in initially. And there's also a West Yorkshire Passenger Transport Executive Metro train version in the 144.
Yeah, another train of my youth, in fact, that one. That spent far too many hours on Class 144s, trundling back and forth on stoppers from Huddersfield to Leeds or Huddersfield to Sheffield on 144. So another probably must go on shopping list item, I think, there.
Yeah, they are looking rather smart. So looking forward to those coming through as well. Yeah. And then for N-Gauge, there's a brand new wagon from the EFE rail, which is the PBA Clay Tiger. Yes. They're doing 8 versions of that. 4 in the early white colour scheme of English China clays, and then there's 4 versions coming through in the blue version, the later version, and they've got the different branding on the side for the different wagon leasing companies, but also the tooling of the blue versions also includes some of the differences that were incorporated in later life for when they were travelling across to Europe on train ferries and what have you, so the lashing points and stuff like that. Yeah.
It includes options for both pristine and weathered versions.
That's right.
Quite a nice follow-up, like actually we saw in 00 gauge, quite a nice follow-up to the JIA wagons, the other ones as well. Yeah. So you'll be able to really model those modern era China clay workings in N-gauge as well.
Yeah, 4 different numbers on each colour scheme.
Yeah. So sticking with the China clay theme, but moving back up a scale, we've got a new addition to the wagon range for EFE rail using the original Kerno model rail centre tooling for the PRA 4-wheel China clay wagons, which were introduced in the 1980s.
Yes, these are wagons that were on flows from Cornwall up to, I think, Corpac on the West Highland line.
Yeah,
just
quite
north of
amazing
Fort
that
William.
a four-wheel wagon was used to transport China clay such a long distance.
Yes, they went in sort of, they'd appear in sort of 2, 3, 4 wagon formats in speed link formations typically, from photographs and stuff that I've seen. These were kind of a distinctive wagon of the time. If you look back at any freight services running on the West Highland line around that sort of period, you'll invariably think, what on earth is that wagon there? That's what it is. It's one of the PRA wagons.
So they've got really quite distinctive ladders around the end and walkways. And then one of the things I really like about the model as well is they've got actually the lashings of the cable ties holding the roof down as well.
Holding that tarpaulin roof down.
Canvas roof down, yeah. Really nice little wagons. And they've got different versions again coming to model them in early and later period. So when they first came to traffic, they had matching sort of beigey grey coloured underframes to them. And then later they had repaints to have those underframes put into black. And both those versions are being modelled. Another great addition for China clay modellers there. And then moving on to something I would say reasonably unexpected, I think, now for EFE Rail.
Absolutely, and larger.
A little bit bigger, yeah. So we're moving up to O gauge in EFE Rail now as well, with the addition of the British Thomson Houston Class 15.
Yeah, there's 8 models of this particular locomotive coming through, and it's a stunning model. Looking forward to this coming through. There are 2 versions of 4 different colour schemes, if you like, predominantly BR green, of course. But it's just the
on these,
but it's just the finish that they appear in. So there's plain BR green, there's plain BR green with running numbers on the cab fronts. Sorry. And then there's small yellow warning panels and full yellow ends. That's there's differences to the underframes in terms of...
because some have got green underframes, some have got black underframes as well.
And green battery boxes, black battery boxes, and so on. So.
Yeah, so this is an O-gauge model. It's got a 3-hole motor in the centre of it. It's got Plux 22 decoder socket, and again, it's got factory-fitted speakers. And the eagle-eyed amongst our viewers and readers will recognise this loco from its previous life when it was developed by the Little Loco Company. It's now part of the FE Rail collection as well, and you'll be able to add a new Class 15 to your O-gauge collection. So if these are as good as the first batch, which I expect they will be, then I've got one of these which has done many hours of service on my O-gauge
nice
layout.
indeed.
So they are very nice locos. I've always liked Class 15s, nice off-centre cab locos. Not very long-lived in the grand scheme of things, but classic pilot scheme diesels from the late 1950s, early 1960s. Pretty much entirely based on the eastern region out at Stratford, but interestingly, quite often worked across on cross-London freights as well. Could turn up at places like Clapham Junction on their way through to the southern region yards as well. So now we move down a scale to N-Gauge and the Graham Farish collection, which is expanding again this time with both new toolings and upgrades to previous models as well.
Yes, so the Standard 5 is due out, which is looking rather smart. That's going to come through. The 5MT 460.
That's right, yeah. So this is a model that was out, I think it was about 2012 they did the first batch of these, and at the time then everything was 6-pin decoder sockets. There wasn't factory fitted sound into steam locomotives or anything for N-Gauge at that time. And now it's been through the mill again to be revised. It's had an update to it. So now it's a Next 18 decoder socket in the tender, as well as a factory fitted speaker, and the choice of now sound fitted and non-sound fitted locos as well, ready to run.
Yes, they've added a couple of extra sound ones for ones they previously announced as just standard models, and then obviously the mix of sound and sound fitted. And
your colour choices are black or black on these locomotives. I mean, obviously there were some green ones as well, but on this particular production run it's just the black ones they're focused on. A couple of different tender types to choose from as well, so plenty of options on the Standard 5.
Yeah.
Continue with the steam locomotive theme, we've also got an update to the IVT 2MT260 for N-Gauge as well, which I remember at the time it was quite a miraculous project to actually even deliver the IVT 2MT at the time, because it's such a small locomotive. There was barely space for a motor inside the boiler, let alone the decoder socket inside the tender. It's now been upgraded again, like the Standard 5, to have a Next 18 decoder socket in it and a factory fitted speaker in a locomotive that at one point was proving very difficult to produce.
I was going to say, it looks superb given the fact that you've got all that technology packed into it to get sound into such a small, diminutive locomotive.
So there's 4 new versions coming of the IVT 2MT for N-Gauge. We've got covering LMS and BR liveries, covering both black and BR green base colours as well. Moving on to something a little bit more modern for N-Gauge, we've got another version of 60095 in GBRF blue as well.
That's right, this is a sound-fitted version of the locomotive. Of course, it's undergone some modifications to be able to fit sound within the model. Who doesn't love a Class 60 anyway?
Absolutely, and once it's got sound in as well, because it's got an X18 decoder socket now in the Class 60, as well as a factory fitted speaker as well, and yeah, they make great sound to Class 60s, especially when they're under load as well.
Yeah.
One of the things I've always loved about the Class 60s is that see-through nature of the grills, getting nicknamed donuts. Literally see-through from one side of the loco to the other.
Yeah, they're phenomenal locomotives, and they have that look about them. They've got the power.
Yes.
You know, they've got the look that matches the power.
Yeah, that presence, haven't they? You know, 3,300 horsepower, proper heavy freight locomotives, weren't they?
Yeah.
So expanding the rolling stock collection in Engage, we've got a number of new liveries appearing on the Mark 1 coaches, including BR Carmine and Cream, BR Maroon, West Coast Railways as well, C-Link livery as well, and also BR Mark 2Fs coming through as well.
Absolutely. I think in total there's somewhere just over 50 different models coming through. So there's multiple numbers, various versions of the Mark 1s, depending on the colour schemes, you know, lots coming through, but I think it's about 50 or 57, something along those lines.
And the Mark 1, it's a really good quality tooling for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Mark 2F, I think, has got Intercity Swallow livery for the first time, and you know, some of the colour schemes being carried by the models.
BR Blue and Grey, and I think there's some Virgin Trains livery ones as well.
And Saltire ScotRail.
Yeah, lots of choices again with Mark 2Fs. And then moving on to freight stock, we've got a whole raft of new freight releases as well. So just a few highlights. We've got a new version of the TTA tanker in Engage. We've got new versions of the 16-ton mineral in Engage. There's new versions of the HAA hopper and its HA family, so there's some with the canopies on as well. So you can choose HFAs and all kinds as well coming through on the HAA. Loads of wagons to fill your boots with to expand your rolling stock collection.
Plenty of selection there.
Absolutely. And then we've got a brand new tooling for a piece of rolling stock as well in Engage. We've got a new tooling for the Lobster wagon in Engage as well. So you might remember that in the previous edition of the Bachmann announcements, they announced they're going to do a double O gauge Lobster, which is featured in our latest issue, issue 192, the June 2023 issue, and they're now doing that in Engage as well.
That's right, and there's two versions of the model, much the same as the double O gauge version of the model. So one version's got the disc brakes, the other version has got the traditional brakes.
Moving on to Scenecraft then, and we've got some new buildings coming with a bit of a Great Central connection as well.
Absolutely, yeah, there's quite a few new buildings coming through as part of the collection. There's a nice mess room, which is based on the mess room at Loughborough Central. And one of the things they're doing, again, much as they have done with the Great Central buildings previously, is they're doing various colour schemes. So there'll be two versions of the mess room with different coloured doors and what have you.
And handily, the green version, which would match nicely with our collection here on the layout today.
It would work very nicely, absolutely. They're also doing the Rothley signal cabin, of which there are two versions of that, including the distinctive green version.
Yes, so as it is today, since they didn't relocated the signal box as well, really, didn't they? So yeah, nice additions to the GCR collection.
Yeah, so there's those. There's also a nice metal footbridge coming through, two versions of that as well. The blue version looks really rather nice, actually, of that. So
it's on Mark's shopping list.
On my shopping list. There's a collection of on-platform vending machines, if you like. There's also a platform kiosk, which looks rather nice, quite nice and ornate. For Engage, there's a pack of coal loads for the Graham Farish wagons. I think they're about 5mm deep.
That's right, they fit nicely in the 16-ton mineral wagons that just brought out as well.
Yeah, so I think that's the only Engage Scenecraft model. The remainder are 00 products that are coming through.
That's right, like I say, you can see the full list of those online at keymodelworld.com/Bachmann as well. So closing off our coverage of the Bachmann Summer 2023 announcements, we've got a couple of new additions to the Collector Club listings as well.
Indeed, there's two Engage Class 20s coming through, and both of these are in the rich maroon lined livery of London Transport.
Yeah, they do look really very smart as well.
They do. There's Sir John Betjeman and the Sherlock Holmes. And the subtle livery differences between the two locomotives have been incorporated into the colour scheme.
And quite amazing, it's like sometimes when you see these modellers as like a photograph on the screen, you kind of forget how small they are. It's like back when Graham Farish Class 20 is only about that long, it's like 3 or 4 inches long, if that. And they've got all that detailed livery artwork pushed into that tiny space.
They really do look smart. They've got the yellow axle box covers and things like that. Yeah,
and the lining looks superb.
The lining does look good, and you know the placement of the logos and what have you, and the different type on them incorporated there.
That's right. Then for 00 gauge in the Collector Club exclusives range, we've got a new support coach model as well, modelling the BR Mark II coach that's hauled by 45596 Bahamas on the main line.
Yeah, this is a BFK, a first corridor brake vehicle, and yeah, it looks very smart, and it's lined maroon livery with a light grey roof.
Yeah, so if you've got a model of Bahamas, you've got a perfect edition to run with it now as well. Well, that brings us to the end of our coverage today in this video for the Bachmann Summer 2023 announcements. Like I say, don't forget you can see our full coverage online at keymodelworld.com/Bachmann, or if you'd rather wait, you can go and wait for our next issue of Hornby magazine, issue 193, our July 2023 issue, which is on sale at the beginning of June, where we've got full coverage there as well.
And don't forget, we've got our very own special limited edition of the Class 40, 40145 East Lancashire Railway. You can find out more at the Key Model World shop.
Yes, because it's available to pre-order now with a deposit, and then it'll be here in the summer as well.
I'm Jack, and welcome to Hattons Model Railways in Widnes. Here at Hattons, we stock over 13,000 different product lines, and we also have a huge range of pre-owned items ranging from everything from UK outline, USA outline, Japan. You can also sign up to daily notifications, so whenever we add new pre-owned stock, you can go straight to the website and get first dibs on those too. We also offer a trunk service here at Hattons that enables you to purchase items and make sure you've secured them. We'll keep them here safely for you, and you can even combine them with other orders and have them all shipped out together. That even enables you to save on postage costs, and it's great for overseas customers as well. So we're here in our curbside pickup lockers, so anyone who is local to Hattons, you can have your order placed online or over the phone and have it placed in one of our lockers as you see here. Truly easy to just come and collect your key, pick it up any time of day, 24/7, you can come and pick up your order. Our customer experience team is available from 9:30 AM to 5:30 PM, 7 days a week UK time. You can place orders, query anything, and you can also speak to our product expert team who are available to give you expert full-on guidance with our entire product range. They can get in touch via email, social media, live chat, or phone.
Introducing Key Model World, your new online destination for everything railway and scale modelling. Featuring exclusive videos and features, unseen images, step-by-step guides, railway history, and the latest news. Plus, it's home to our full layout build series.
But I'm going to stop you right there though, because I didn't do this. This is all you're doing.
Join us for the latest content from Key Publishing's modelling titles, Hornby Magazine and Airfix Model World. Sign up today for as little as £3.75 per month, or if you're a magazine subscriber, bolt Key Model World onto your subscription package now. For more details, visit keymodelworld.com.
So that brings us to the end of this edition of the programme. Next month, you don't want to miss the programme because we get up close and personal with an icon of steam.
That's right, 2023 is the centenary of Flying Scotsman, and we're going to be following the locomotive at the Keith and Worth Valley Railway and bring you full coverage of that in our new Key Model World TV show series. And don't forget as well, you can keep up to date with all our latest model railway news in issue 192. That's our June 2023 issue, which is on sale during May, including news about our Class 40 and our latest laser cut kit of Norton Bridge signal box and much more besides.
Don't forget also you can check out keymodelworld.com for all the very latest news and updates through the month.
Thank you very much for watching us today. We hope you enjoyed this latest Key Model World TV show, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.